The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today for our first 30 on Thursday of 2018, how to automate sales and contracting processes with Nintex and Salesforce. Just a little bit about us before we get started. We provide consulting solutions in finance, technology operations, data analytics, governance, risk, and internal audit through our network of more than 70 offices in over 20 countries. Our full-service software solutions team provides consulting and on-demand support for SharePoint, Office 365, Salesforce, Nintex, Sitecore, Kentico, SQL, and .NET. Our 30 on Thursday webinar series is a bi-weekly 30-minute webinar series where we talk all things software services, including Nintex, Office 365, and SharePoint. Our next webinar will be on February 22nd, where we will be talking about the best practices for protecting your organization from security breaches in Office 365 with Microsoft MVP Antonio Mayo. You can register for that webinar and see our full event schedule on our website, ecm.protiviti.com. We are hosting Microsoft Cloud GDPR roundtables in 5 cities across the country. You can attend these complimentary roundtables to learn how to use Microsoft Cloud capabilities to help you become GDPR compliant. We will be in Chicago, Virginia, Dallas, Atlanta, and Edina. If you want to register for any of these events, you can go to our website, ecm.protiviti.com. Our team is also hosting an Office 365 and SharePoint specific conference in May, ProCollabCon. If you are interested in attending this, you can learn more at procollabcon.com. We are offering a great incentive right now. If you register by February 16th, you receive an Amazon Echo Dot. We will be covering topics such as Salesforce and SharePoint, SharePoint for GRC, GDPR, hybrid solutions, usability, and more. If you are interested in learning more, check out our website. Today's session is being recorded. You can access today's recording and see past webinar recordings on our YouTube channel. For questions during today's presentation, please use the question window in the GoToMeeting toolbar and use the hashtag 30TNintex. Today's presenter is Terry Simpson with Nintex, and I am Julia Marple, and I will be moderating today's session. All right, Terry, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Julia. I appreciate you inviting me to the 30 on Thursday today. I've really enjoyed doing these over the years. I think this is probably the 7th or 8th different year that you guys have been putting this on, and it's been a really good bi-weekly event to participate in. So again, this is Terry Simpson over at Nintex. I'm a technical evangelist, and I spend a good bit of my time kind of walking through demonstrations like this today and showing off the technology that we have over here. I'll put on my marketing hat just for maybe 2 minutes here real quick, and we'll get right into the demo today. But Nintex was founded back in 2006, and we have a great workflow and forms tool that you can use out there within SharePoint, Salesforce, Box. We're in a lot of different places. Also, we have our Nintex Workflow Cloud tool as well, but we've really grown into a great enterprise solution. And so when we get into this, we'll see the workflow tool here mentioned in the list, our Hawkeye Analytics tool, App Studio, so that the forms that you see today, you can place them on your phone on an app. Also, we have our extensions framework as well, which is great within the Workflow Cloud because we're talking about Salesforce today, but you can also connect to a lot of other systems. And the other big thing we're going to get into today is our Nintex document generation capabilities, which allow you to take documents like a Word document and use that as a template to take data, which we're going to show within a form or within Salesforce today, and inject it into that template and output a PDF for someone. That's going to be really exciting to see today as an example. Now, just a little bit more about us. One more slide here from a marketing perspective. Our sweet spot is really within the line of business here. And if you look over here on the left-hand side, as the complexity scale goes from easy to complex, you have a lot of times in scenarios where you have a lot of heavy IT projects that are in here. And then over on the very far right side, you have the exact opposite of more personal kind of productivity tasks. Things like email or really small, easy workflows that send you notifications through, if this, then that, or things like flow as well. And where we sit is right in the middle of that, where the line of business can get pretty technical and complicated, but yet we can do really easy personal stuff as well. And hopefully you're going to see a lot of that in here today on how easy it is to build out workflows and forms in the environment. Now, the example that I'm going to show you today is kind of a sales cloud to cash process. And what we're going to focus on are the items that are kind of highlighted in white here. We're going to skip over the pieces that are in red today just because those tend to take a little bit longer time. And we don't want to spend the whole half hour kind of going through the approval and red line process. So what we're going to do today is talk about the data capture piece of this through a form. We're going to go and we're going to create a record based upon the submission of that form in Salesforce. So once we submit the form, it's going to create that record. Also, we're going to go out and generate a quote based upon the information that was input into the form. And then we're going to go through the process of the close when process. We're going to go through and have this sent to DocuSign. We want to archive that DocuSign piece of PDF, or I was going to say paper there, and then also send out the individual some welcome emails to let them know that now that the contract's been in place, they're going to be onboarded. And then also, more importantly, send out the invoice, because we want to get to that cash process so that you've got some receivables coming in and get the folks onboarded. So that's what we're going to go through today. In the event that somebody wants to get into the weeds a little bit more on the approval piece and the redlining piece of the contract, feel free to shoot Julia or even myself an email and let us know, and we can kind of do a separate demo of that on the side if we need to, but it should hopefully be some informative stuff today. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show here as well is I mentioned our Hawkeye Analytics tool at the beginning just briefly, but I wanted to show you how that analytics tool helps you understand your process. So this is an example screenshot of a demonstration environment that we have. And what's important about this is it's not just about building the form and building the workflow and automating everything in a very easy way and quickly. That's wonderful, but a lot of what our clients are wanting to see is we want to analyze that workflow and figure out what's going on within the workflow to make it more efficient. So if we're going through this entire process from the time that a quote has been sent out until the cash is received in within the company, how do we make that process much more efficient and tighter? And this analytics piece allows you to do that, because you can start to understand how long does the approval chain take? How long does the document generation piece take? How long does it take to get the client to sign it? So you can see in here that the average contract approval, how fast it goes. Now, we're in a demonstration environment, so you're going to see this go in like less than 4 minutes or less than 5 minutes. But realistically, for most of your clients, you're going to say, well, how many days or hours or weeks does this take? And this analytics piece really helps you understand your process after it's implemented, understanding the constraints and how you can make it more efficient. So it's not just about building the workflow in a really easy way. We want to help you run your business as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive right into the demonstration. That's it for the slides, other than the thank you slide, which I'll try to bring up there at the very end. And the rest of the time, we're going to jump in here and spend showing you off the platform. So I've logged into a Salesforce environment. You'll see, notice this is the lightning view for those of you that are familiar with Salesforce. And what I want to do is I want to jump into the opportunities area, and I want to open up an individual opportunity. And my main thing or reason for doing this is I just really want to show you that there's some examples of Nintex forms in the Salesforce area. Now, Nintex is available within the App Exchange. And so if you ever want to go out and test the waters, feel free to jump out into the App Exchange within Salesforce and you can get started. Over here, you're going to see a lightning component, and in that lightning component, you're going to see two elements of Nintex. And right here, we have three different examples of forms that are out here. And so if we need to go out and get that contract to close, you can come out and fill out this form in order to do that for this particular opportunity. Or if we need to go out here and there's an approval that needs to be made on a particular discount, we can go out and leverage that form as well, or even the pricing that's out here. So this is a great example of how you can have some forms within the environment. And then document generation is in here as well. So pretty neat to have those components built right in here within the Salesforce environment. Now, what I want to do next is I want to go right into the demo, and we want to talk a little bit about getting this process kicked off. Now, the form that you see right here is an Nintex Workflow Cloud form. Technically, it sits right outside of Salesforce, and this form right here can be available to anonymous users. So if you wanted to, you could come out and fill out this form. In this example, though, this form right here, we're going to use this in an internal scenario. So let's assume that only the individuals today that have access to this are internal employees who are going to go and generate a quote. So let's say we've got Simpson Incorporated here. We're going to punch in the address here for Simpson Incorporated. It's important that I put my phone number in here because at the very end, I'm actually going to get a text message when things are done. I'm going to get onboarded. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my email address in here. And then we're going to select a product that we want to generate a quote for. Now, you may be wondering, what's this product? Welcome to Dreamforce. The Dreamforce conference was a month or two, I guess 2 months ago. And we had built this demonstration for that conference. And so I'm just reusing it here. So anyways, we could go out. That'll be our product. I'm going to select one, and I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. Now, when I hit submit here, things are going to happen pretty quickly. So it says, thank you for your submission. And what's going to happen now is we're going to go out, and let's go out to the accounts area. And what's going to happen here is that an account is actually going to be generated right into Salesforce as soon as that workflow runs. So you see there, Simpson Incorporated wasn't there before, it is now. And what we're doing is we're actually generating several things. We're creating a contract, or we're creating the account, and then what we're going to do is we're actually going to generate a contract, an opportunity, and a quote. And look how fast that was. The contact was just added, so my name and email address from the form. It's a new logo for that company's name, created just now, and we also generated the quote just now. And so that is currently under review. So you see how quickly that was generated. So we just did a lot of stuff right there, going out in here and generating all of that. Now, what's going to happen here in just a minute, hopefully for demonstration purposes, it's going to happen just as fast. I'm going to get an email, and that email is actually going to be the quote that we asked for that to see. And there it is right there. So let me open this up. Opened up on my other screen, sorry about that. And you'll see that that document was generated, and the workflows leveraging DocuSign, it's sending the contract to DocuSign in a PDF form. It just emailed it to me, and now I can open up that document right here, and we can go and see the quote and sign it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. And you'll see here that it was generated today, just now. Here's the address of where it came from, Simpson Incorporated. Actually, it's a quantity of 2. Here's the dollar value. And then we're going to go in and sign this particular quote right here. So let's go ahead and sign it and hit adopt and go from there. So that generated that quote really fast and sent it over to me. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit finish here. And once I hit finish, it's going to go ahead and complete the process, and the document is going to be placed back into the environment. Now, I'm going to pause here for just a second and kind of walk through everything that just happened real quick. So we just generated an account. We generated an opportunity. We generated a contact. We also generated a steel brick quote. We also generated a steel brick line item. And we created 6 records within Salesforce. So 5 of those were child records, and I think one of them was a grandchild record. We actually generated the quote with our document generation tool. That quote started out as a Word document, which was the template, and we injected all the information from Salesforce in the form in order to generate that quote. We sent it out for signature. We signed the document, and I literally just got that email that I just clicked on that sent me the final executed document back to my email address. So we did all of that, so 8, 9, 10 really big items, all probably within less than a minute or two. So really, really cool to see how that process was automated. So imagine that you were filling out that form that I showed you there just a minute ago, maybe on your mobile device, because that form is available on your mobile device. So if you're within a sales organization and you've got that form right there on your phone, and I'm sitting across the table from you, I can fill out the form and hit submit, and then all of a sudden the individual on the other side of the table gets the quote right there on the phone, and they could even DocuSign it right on the phone. So really, really cool to be able to do that. Now, having done all of that I just described, we've still got a bunch of stuff that our workflow is doing behind the scenes here, which is really cool. So we also, once all this has been set up, you're going to see over here that we have a team that's being assigned. So down here at the bottom, we're actually going and assigning team members to this new account that was set up. Because remember, we filled out the form, we generated the quote, customer signed the quote, now we set up the account. So we're assigning an account executive, a sponsor, a customer service person, account manager. All this stuff was just literally assigned here in the last minute or so. Now, once those individuals were assigned to the account, we also, in the workflow, started generating tasks over here. So you'll see over here, as far as the new tasks that are just showed up. So now we see that the solutions architect, Ed, has a task. And over here we have customer received a delivery. So Julia has a task over here. So really cool to be able to see those task assignments over here and see all the stuff that's going on. Now the last thing that's out here that I haven't showed you yet is, let me come out here and jump into my email, and we also have a welcome email. And so the welcome email is right here as well. So it literally just came in 1:47, at least East Coast time. And it says, welcome to the Cefalo family. And now we have a couple more documents in here. And so it's a customer onboarding PDF that was generated. So you'll see here when I filled out my names, it says, hi, Terry. And here are all the individuals that were set up within Salesforce. So after all the account team was assembled in Salesforce, we're taking that data and we're injecting it into this template, and we're emailing a list of who the account team is, their email address, their phone numbers, all that Salesforce data right to the client right there, and a nice little welcome package. And then the most important thing for the business perspective is that we want to go out here and we're trying to get cash at the end of the day back into the business as quickly as we can. So you'll also see that this PDF for the invoice was generated. Now this particular invoice is for $0, but you'll see here for Simpson Incorporated, the dollar value, 0, who it was emailed to, all of that. So you can imagine that invoice was sent. So if your salesperson was sitting at lunch with the customer, they happened to sign everything and get it all done right there, that email is now in his inbox for invoice, hopefully ready to be processed as soon as they can. So really cool to be able to walk through that entire process in order to send all of that out. Now, the last thing that we even had our workflow do as well, and I'll see if I can quickly share my screen here of my phone, is that I also got a text message. And so I have an iOS device in my pocket, and you'll see here that I literally just got this text message at 1:50, and it says, Terry, thanks for becoming a DocuSign customer. We hope you enjoyed your Dreamforce. So it's sending us a text message, and that's the message that we typed right into the email address. But you also have that capability of sending the text message notification, which is really neat. Now, the last thing that I want to show you, because that's kind of the end user experience of how easy it is to do all that, I want to show you a little bit about the actual workflow cloud designer that's in here. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and we're going to open up the workflow cloud. and refresh this page since I haven't been in here in a little bit. And this is the actual workflow tool where everything happens behind the scenes. So we call this Nintex Workflow Cloud, and you'll see here a list of all the workflows that we have. So if anybody wants to see the redlining process, we can show you that, the pricing approval, the contract close. We have several different workflows that are out there. But how we build this out is right here within the designer interface. And I'm not going to spend too much time in here. But what I want to do is kind of get you introduced to how easy it is to build that workflow that you just saw. Because you can come out here and have this workflow start externally, meaning when that form is filled out and submitted, the workflow will start the process. Or you can have it kick off when that new item is created in Salesforce. So it doesn't matter if an employee manually created it or if you allowed the workflow to automatically create it. Regardless, a new record or a new account was created, so it can then come into our tool and start that workflow externally. But for those of you that may or may not be familiar with our tool, with the Workflow Cloud, it's all drag and drop. So if you want to bring an action from the left-hand side over to the right-hand side, maybe you want to do an approval, you just drag and drop it over, click on that action, and then you come over here and configure the action in the right-hand side of the screen. Now, for today's demonstration, we had a lot of Salesforce integration. So you'll see all the different connectors that are over here. Salesforce is right here, so we can come over and we can create the record, delete a record, query a record, retrieve record, update a record, all kinds of really good stuff that we can do. So if we want to create a record, we just drag and drop it over, click on it. We have a connections framework where it sits right outside of this screen here on the home page, which I didn't show you, but it allows you to connect. So you'll see here several different logins that we can use in order to connect to an environment. You'll see here that it's querying that environment, and then when we can go and update an object. So if I'm going to create a record, what is it that you want to create? Is it an asset? Is it an account? So this is what we use to create an account, and there's the account name. So all we do is take that form that we filled out, grab the account name field, place it right in here, it goes over to Salesforce and creates it. So very, very easy to kind of drag and drop all this stuff over into the interface. So you'll see update record, get a collection, you'll see all kinds of stuff that we're doing in the workflow. We've actually split this workflow up into sections. So you'll see the redlining and review process right here, which will come in here. You'll see legal review on the right-hand side, opportunity creation on the left-hand side, routing for signatures in here. So when we sent that out to DocuSign, this is how we sent it. We updated the record, and then right here we go to get the signature. So we're using these credentials, we're using this variable, and then we come out here and send the document out for signature. And if it's declined, we're going to go notify Salesforce. If it's voided, we're going to notify them. But if it's completed, we're going to update it and send the record back with the stored one, and then so forth. So here's the account creation process for the team. So again, you saw what, 5, 6 different staff members that were added. So here's where we add the executive sponsor, we add the account executive right here, account manager, customer service, all those things that I just showed you right there. And then ultimately we're going to go out and fire off another workflow here that starts the onboarding process. But this is our Nintex Workflow Cloud tool over here. We're focusing on SharePoint today, but you can see that we can integrate, or not SharePoint today, Salesforce today, but you can see all the systems that you can integrate with over here on the left-hand side. And then we also have our extensions framework, which you can connect to anything pretty much in the organization that you want. The Salesforce connectors over here are already built in. We give you those, and then down here at the bottom you'll see like SAP. We didn't happen to build an SAP connector, but if you've got a web service, an API, something to that effect, you can come and use our extensions framework to pretty much connect to whatever you want. So if you want to take information from Salesforce and send it into another system that you have, then you're more than welcome to do that. So I'm hoping that today that you've seen a couple good nuggets of information within this short, sweet demo of a kind of cash or quote to cash process, you know, generating a contract, getting it signed, and then ultimately getting the invoice sent off so that you can get cash into the organization. So that's what I had from a demonstration purposes. I know we have about maybe 5 minutes left. And so what I'd like to do is open this up to questions. So if you want to place some questions in the chat session, feel free to place a question in there, ask it. And I think Julia is going to keep an eye on those. And as those questions come in, I think Julia will ask the questions, and I'll do my best to see if I can answer those. But before I turn it over to Julia, I want to make sure that you guys jot down Julia's email address and also my email address. So if you have any questions after this is done, and if you want to see anything more down in the weeds a little bit more, and have some one-on-one kind of Q&A, feel free to reach out to either one of us, and Julia can either reach out to the Protiviti team and get someone to help you, or myself as well. So Julia, I know we got maybe 2-3 minutes left, and I'm curious if we have any questions.
Hi, Terry. Yes, we do. We have a couple questions here. If anyone has a question, please insert it into the question window in the GoToMeeting toolbar. The first question is, where does the Nintex Workflow Cloud live?
Yeah, great question. So the Nintex Workflow Cloud, we host it in Azure. Is where we have it. So you'll probably remember back, maybe I can bring that screen up here real quick, when we showed the URL for the particular site that I was using, you'll see it's at cephalo.workflowcloud.com. So that's a service that we host out in Azure, and ultimately your organization would have their own kind of domain in here. So if it was protiviti.workflowcloud.com, you just access it through the browser and you're off and running. So that's a good question.
Okay, great. How do I get Nintex Workflow and Cloud installed in Salesforce?
Another good one. So in the App Exchange, you're going to see a couple Nintex products that are out there. So for those who have been around the App Exchange and Salesforce world for a little while, you probably remember a tool called DrawLoop. Nintex acquired that company several years ago. We've kind of rebranded that to be DrawLoop is now Nintex Document Generation. So you will see in the App Exchange Nintex Document Generation, and you'll also see Nintex Workflow Cloud. So go out to the App Exchange and feel free to download it there. In the event that you want to test it outside of that environment, you can also just go to nintex.com and hit the free trial button, and you're going to see at the top, download free trials. Nintex Workflow Cloud will be one of those options, and you can download the tool and test it out for 30 days, no strings attached to it, other than maybe getting a phone call. But anyways, you can go and download it and use it for 30 days and test it out. So look at the App Exchange for your first place, and then nintex.com and hit the orange button in the right-hand corner for free trial download.
Okay, and are the Salesforce connectors included in the Nintex Workflow Cloud right away, or do we need to add them?
Yeah, so the Salesforce connectors are included in there right out of the gate. So you'll see right over here on the left-hand side, Salesforce. So those connectors are there and ready to use, along with Adobe Sign, Box, Slack, SQL, all that good stuff are right there out of the gate. The one towards the bottom that you see in my environment, like SAP, you'll have to use our extensions framework to do that. But if you go download the free trial, you'll be able to light this up and connect it into your Salesforce environment right out of the gate, so you don't have to do anything other than enter a connection, meaning a username and password, in order to get those to function. So very lightweight, kind of easy installation, and get this thing going for you. Okay,
great. I think that is all the questions that we have today. Thank you, Terry, for the great presentation. Lots of great information here. We will be posting the recording on our YouTube channel. We will be following up with a link to that recording. Thank you all for attending today, and we will see you in February when we talk about Office 365 security. Have a great day, everyone.
Great. Thanks, Julia.